The jangling man is coming.
Hey, today I am reviewing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which came out this past Friday. I went into this not knowing too much. I had never read the books when I was younger, as I was a massive coward, so I really only had seen the trailers, which admittedly did look really cool, but they also did feature arguably one of the worst lines of dialogue I've seen in possibly any trailer ever.
You don't read the book. The book reads you. The book reads you.
I was a little worried that line may be a sign of things to come for this movie, so I went in with pretty mixed expectations, and I'll say I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark takes place in the 1960s on Halloween, and follows a group of teens that come across a book filled with frightening tales of monsters that soon haunt their own lives. The group of characters are enjoyable. They're the typical nerd group you've become accustomed to seeing from things like It or Stranger Things. They have good chemistry and crack some decent jokes. They're not incredibly memorable, they're fairly two-dimensional at times, but they're also not grating or annoying like a lot of characters in other horror movies. They're serviceable. I'd describe the overall story in the same way. Serviceable. It's straightforward. At times, yeah, it's a bit predictable. At other times, it's a bit dull. But it's really not meant to be the star of the show. It's meant to be a vehicle to transport you from short story A to short story B to short story C. It's kind of like an anthology in that way. And, it was fine for what it was. I mean, it's kind of like tortilla chips or crackers. On its own, yeah, the overall plot's kind of bland, kind of forgettable. But it's really just a means to an end to shovel amazing shit into your mouth. And I guess what I'm saying with this weird analogy is that the short stories in this movie were absolutely excellent. I really enjoyed each of these short story segments, pretty much almost equally, which is kind of rare in like an anthology series. I know this isn't quite an anthology, but in something like VHS, there's usually about one dud. But I thought each short story segment was going for something different, a different type of horror, and that helped them to stand out from each other and each kind of stand on equal footing. Some of them were going for more of a body horror, while others were going for more straight scares and suspense. I honestly have no shame in admitting that I actually was watching two of the short story segments from behind my fingers. The creature design in this was awesome. Each one was unique looking, absolutely terrifying, and with the exception of one creature that was CGI, all of them looked completely real and helped add a level of immersion to each short story segment. My favorite short story segment was the one featuring the Pale Lady. I really love the way they built up to this one, and I also just really find the creature design of the Pale Lady to be just absolutely unnerving and unsettling. And I overall just really enjoyed the way this one was shot and executed. But again, I really almost enjoyed all of the short story segments equally. I will say I wish there was a little less time spent on the overall story and the characters, and a little bit more time on the short story segments, maybe sprinkling 2 to 4 more in here. I could definitely see this working as an anthology, a pure anthology, or even a short series on a streaming platform like Netflix, where each episode takes a look at a different short story. That would be awesome. Overall, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is just an effective, scary movie. Sure, the characters and the overall story could be a bit improved. At certain points it can feel like it's dragging a little bit, but it accomplishes what it's set out for. It is a scary movie with scary stories, great creatures, and I had a really fun time with this one. I would definitely recommend you check it out. Also, as a bonus recommendation, if you like this movie, the director Andre Overdal's previous film, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, I think is arguably even better, even scarier, and I would give that one a double recommendation. I don't believe it's on Netflix anymore, so you will have to find it wherever you rent movies, either Google Play, iTunes, a Blockbuster if there's a Blockbuster in your town, but I would definitely recommend that one as well. Alright, those are my thoughts on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. If you plan to check it out, or if you've seen it already, and you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please talk to me in the comments below. Also, if you have any feedback about this review format as a whole, I'd love to hear about that as well. For example, I have been getting a lot of feedback that in my previous camera setup, I was sitting a little too close to the lens and people could feel me breathing on their faces. So I have moved about 2 feet back. If you still don't like this, and maybe you just don't like the look of my ugly face, I could possibly record the next one a little bit further back, maybe in the hallway. Also, if you want to see more reviews for horror, consider subscribing. I do have a couple more planned in the near future. Bye!